Hey everyone, it's Friday. We have Tim Anderson here in studio to talk the market movers this week. Tim, I want to start off with saying hi. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, it's great to be here.
And also this coronavirus. I mean, this came out of nowhere. How much of a big deal is this?
Well, it's certainly a big deal for any business activities in China. Travel and tourism is taking the biggest hit from it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's creating the most angst about it in the market and among investors is that we just don't know the parameters of it yet.
Right.
We don't know. Every day there's more people that have tested positive. We don't know how long the incubation period is. And unfortunately, the death count and the number of people affected is probably going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
And the market angst will probably build until those headcount numbers start to peak.
And Tim, more so, there's going to be companies that are probably going to leave China.
Well, they might divert some of their operations from China for some period of time. Certainly anyone that's manufacturing lighter goods may have the flexibility to do that. If you're a heavy manufacturer, you're probably not going to do that. But if you have other plants around the globe, you may divert some of your activities around there. And people that had maybe had business trips planned to China to work on developments there, maybe pushing those off till later in the year until the parameters of this get much more defined.
So you're saying smaller companies that produce smaller goods, not something like Apple? Or would they?
Well, Apple has said they have some contingency plans if things continue to worsen. I'm talking more like clothing and
Okay.
light consumer goods and things like that.
Right.
So-
Now, we also had the trade war was not solved. So it was really interesting to see how our GDP, an update on GDP went. And we did pretty well. We were in line with expectations. So how come we persevered?
Well, look, we got the first look at Q4 GDP,
Yeah.
which was obviously a period of time, like you said, where there were still many unresolved trade issues. The USMCA had not been totally finalized yet. The China trade deal, phase one, had not been signed off on. There was still uncertainty over Brexit during the most of the fourth quarter.
Right.
And we, just had a lot of issues that started to, and you saw the market lift in November and December as these issues began to dissipate. Came in at 2.1, a little bit better than expected. Expectations maybe 1.8 to 1.9. So it's a solid report. It's not an exuberant report. There's definitely a lot of room to grow. And we're also now into a phase where year over year quarterly earnings reports have easier comparisons than they did the prior three quarters.
Now, when you say room to grow, what do you want? What growth do you want to see? What do
Well,
we need?
I think that the GDP can grow at 3%
And how will we get there?
in the second half of the year, but that would require this issue with the Boeing MAX 737 to be resolved, and that plane would have come back online. A lot of their suppliers obviously have taken a hit on that.
Yeah.
And also this coronavirus, which we weren't even talking about 3 weeks ago, we want to see at least some definition as to where we're going with that. And a lot of people have tried to compare it to SARS from the 2002-2003 time period. But keep in mind that at that point in time, China was a $1.5 trillion economy, and now it's a $15 trillion
way bigger deal
economy.
now
It's
because of that.
potentially, it can be much less serious than SARS and still become a much bigger deal, just because China's economy is so much bigger and their infrastructure for travel within China and internationally is so much more developed than it was 2002, 2003. That's why these spurious cases have popped up all over the globe.
Spurious cases. Wow, I like that word choice.
Well,
How
thank you.
serious. I'm sure you send some people to Google. But anyway, Tim, thanks again for coming on Friday. You know, it's time to head out of here. Maybe do some, Super Bowl preparing. You going to root for the Chiefs? Because that's what I'm going for.
I think so, yes. I had thought a week ago that San Francisco was going to win. They have a tremendous amount of weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the karma is with the Chiefs.
Okay.
And that's, I think they're going to squeak it out.